On Wednesday, Chase Young was on the injury report as a limited participant after practice. On Wednesday, Kellen Moore had this exchange about the severity of Chase Young's injury.
Just to clarify, Chase again, sorry, but not really a concern, right?
Yeah, he was just limited to.
He was able to finish practice though after the.
He was just limited, yeah. He just had a little something come up, and yeah.
Okay, so just limited. Now, whenever you go through the week and the injury reports come out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if a player is a DNP, they did not practice, the later in the week, obviously that's more of a concern. So Chase Young was limited on Wednesday with the calf injury. Well, on Thursday, Chase Young was a DNP. The injury report is out. Chase Young and Trevor Penning neither practiced on Thursday. If you're not at least a limited participant, you're not out there moving around on the field doing football-adjacent activities on Friday, the odds of you playing on Sunday are pretty low. So it is fair. I am editorializing here, but it is fair to say Trevor Penning and Chase Young, their availability for Sunday very much feels up in the air at this very moment. We will wait and see what happens Friday. If either of those guys get out there and move around a little bit or are able to participate. It is also worth noting that after practice, Nick Underhill tweeted, and I'll read this directly for you in case if you're not watching, we'll put it up on the screen. This was Nick's tweet about 30 minutes ago. Chase Young didn't provide specifics on his injury, but said, quote, "Hell no," end quote, when asked if it's a long-term concern. He expects to be good soon. What does soon mean? I don't know. That is obviously subjective for each individual case. But if Chase Young is not able to go on Sunday, that's a concern. This is a guy who spent $51 million in this offseason, a 3-year, $51 million extension, a guy who was among the NFL leaders a season ago in quarterback pressures, didn't convert a ton of them into sacks, but was very good at pressuring the quarterback a season ago. And now in the season opener, when you're facing an Arizona team that is very clearly has its sights set on being a playoff team after winning 4 games in year one under Jonathan Gannon, then going 8-9 a season ago and looking to take that next step this year with Kyler Murray, who has already been in the league for 7 years.
Murray, present.
Hard to believe it's been that long, but maybe finally healthy off the knee injury, which cost him the end of the season 2 years ago, the beginning of last season, or I guess 2 years ago. Now you're talking about a guy who, after playing a full season a year ago, is very likely stepping back into that role, maybe as a consistent starter in the NFL. For whatever it's worth, the Saints did, in fact, add a defensive end today. And correlation does not always equal causation, but sometimes when moves like this happen, it's pretty obvious as to why. And you can start to read the tea leaves. Ross Jackson reported this a bit ago. The Saints have signed defensive end Garrett Nelson and released Hunter Deckers as the corresponding move. So at least if nothing else, as a precaution, the New Orleans Saints have added defensive end Garrett Nelson to provide some depth there at defensive end in the event that Chase Young is not able to go. Garrett Nelson, incidentally, is a now former Denver Broncos defensive end / outside linebacker. So he was waived by the Broncos, and now we'll see if he has an opportunity to play for the New Orleans Saints. So he has not played a snap in the NFL, and but a guy that the Saints have added to give at least some depth at that position. So as you look at that injury report, the Chase Young news here is a concern, and it almost takes your eyes off the ball with respect to Trevor Penning, who's still out with the toe injury that he suffered in the first preseason game. And so with Penning not practicing Wednesday or Thursday, that very much puts in doubt his availability for the season opener against Arizona on Sunday. And if it's not Trevor Penning, is it Dylan Radins, who was the former second-round pick of the Tennessee Titans? The Saints signed in free agency this offseason. Remember, Nick Saldiveri is out. Will Clapp is out. They're both on IR. Their seasons are over due to injury. So Dylan Radins would likely, I would assume, be that guy at left guard in the season opener if Penning isn't able to go. But before the season even starts, it feels like Groundhog Day here. It feels like a little deja vu all over again. So many injuries really defined the New Orleans Saints season a year ago, from all the starters on the offensive line, Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau, Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave. And now here as the season is starting just a few days before week one, you might be without your starting left guard and your high-price free agent defensive end in Chase Young. So, again, Chase Young said adamantly to Nick Underhill he does not expect this to be a long-term injury, but when you don't practice on Thursday, your availability for Sunday is very much in question. So we'll see if Chase Young and or Trevor Penning are able to go stretch their legs, get out there, and do a little bit of moving around on Friday's practice. If not, I would say it's unlikely you'd see either of those guys out there on Sunday against Arizona. As for Arizona, interestingly, they only had 2 players on the injury report on Wednesday. A couple of offensive linemen. Will Hernandez was limited. John Gaines was full. But 2 new players have been added to the injury report. Defensive lineman Dante Stills did not practice with what's being listed as a heel injury. And then Owen Papoe, who was is Papoe or Papo? I never said this correctly when it was at Auburn, but he was a really good linebacker from Auburn. I think it might be Papoe, I don't remember. But you remember him, the linebacker from Auburn. He was limited today with a quadricep injury after practicing fully on Wednesday. So I think it's Owen Papo. But anyway, we'll look for the injury report on Friday and see how it all shakes out, who's going to be available. We'll get those final availability reports on game day, who's going to be active and who's not. But we'll have, if someone is ruled out, we'll find out on Friday, and we'll certainly keep you posted. But the one worth keeping an eye on clearly for New Orleans is this Chase Young calf injury, which has popped up that might well keep him out for the season opener on Sunday, and we'll see potentially for how much longer. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.